How many unread text messages do you have right now?
I cleansed it the other day.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm back to 262. I did that last week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Brother, dude.
Welcome to the Money Lap.
I kind of look up mid-taco bite.
You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it. Did we? Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing. Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Like, never mind. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
Let's
the
talk about
Stellantis
race
mic.
cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever. Hello and welcome to Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by my good buddy, great friend, and wonderful and intelligent car salesman, Landon Cassill. We're back. We took a week off due to basically just massive incompetence. There's no other way to put it. Nonetheless, we're going to talk some NASCAR, some other racing and other motorsport stuff out there. Also, this coming weekend, I'll be down in Mexico for the inaugural Cup race down in Mexico and Xfinity Series. I'll just be covering the Xfinity Series, but also happening during this weekend is the Le Mans 24 Hours, an amazing event that is full of insane amounts of manufacturer involvement. So maybe we'll dive into a little bit of that. It'll be tough for me to watch because I will be down in Mexico covering the NASCAR world, especially for the Xfinity Series on the CW. So I hope to kind of tune into some of it, but I'm looking forward to it. I saw Toyota was fastest so far in testing. BMW was only 1.3 seconds off. All the hypercars very close. Ferrari was right up there. So it's going to be a very competitive Le Mans 24 Hours. One of the most beautiful racing events in the world, Landon. I can't wait. I love it.
It's crazy to say only 1.3 seconds off.
It's a long
I guess
lap.
it's fairly reasonable when it's an 8-mile track.
Yeah, and it's 3.5 minutes of a lap time. So on a percentage basis, it's really close.
Yeah.
Especially for the hypercars, they're all super close. There's been adjustments through the last bit of time because at one point it looked like maybe Ferrari was too fast. And
We're in a golden era of hypercars right now.
We are. Well, yeah, sports cars is absolutely in a golden era. It's I told you at the Rolex, a couple of people turned to me and said, "Man, enjoy it now because we all know it won't be here for long." It's like, damn it, they go in cycles. Usually about 8-year cycles, but they've just done an incredible job with the hypercars. The GT3 platform is booming. It's impossible to get into Le Mans. Like, if you want to be there, you've got to go and get one of those amateur trophies that you can get in the IMSA series. Or as a driver, like, bring a huge amount of funding if you want to get in a GT car, LMP2 car, because it's so competitive to get in right now, just like the Rolex, which is wild.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, my man? We took a week off. What's going on? What's the latest?
Yeah, it feels like we took 3 weeks off.
I know. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, we've just been busy and getting. I've kind of starting the summer travels for the Cassill family and business and everything. So the kids, as soon as the kids got out of school, they headed to Ohio to my in-laws, and then they're going back to Charlotte to our house in Charlotte. It's going to spend probably the entire month of June in Charlotte, and then so we'll be in and out of that. I was in Park City, Utah this weekend, which was nice.
Oh, cool.
The weather in Utah is beautiful in the summer.
Is it?
So it was cool.
I haven't been out there since I was 16. I raced at Miller Motorsports Park, which I think is called like Utah Raceway or something now. But
and then I'm going to Vegas for a big dealer conference called NIADA.
whoa.
Independent Auto Dealers Association Conference. And
Wait,
we speak.
I'm
Oh,
out.
you're gonna love this.
Is this a NADID? NADID? They did? Okay. All right, go on.
NADA is the National Auto Dealers Association. This is NIADA,
Oh, okay. All right.
the Independent Auto Dealers.
But wait, you're going to speak? You have a keynote?
Yeah, I'm on a panel.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm going to speak on a panel. And what's funny is I got an email that I won a raffle that I didn't realize that I was unaware that I was even in to drive in the exotic driving experience.
Oh, baby.
At Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
You ever gone that fast?
So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if anybody's ever done any of those, let me know. Or driven a race car or anything, or knows what they're doing. Let me know, and let me know how to prepare for it.
You have to act like you have no idea what's happening. And I think you get like 3 to 5 laps in those deals normally is how it works for like a couple $100. So I don't know what what amount you'll get, but I just can't wait to like just play as coy as possible. And then they're like, man, you're pretty good. This like, yeah, just figured it out. Wow.
Well, I could either play it coy, or I feel like there's some coincidental reason why I was the winner of this raffle.
Oh, that is true.
So that'll be fun. Yeah. And then we'll be back. We had a bunch of dealer 20 group stuff where we meet with other dealers that are similar to us, and we all share notes, kind of like a technical alliance, I guess, in motorsports.
Yeah. That's right.
So
you share information and ideas.
Yep. Speaking of sharing some information, I do have some information to share with you, Parker.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if you are a racing fan just like me, then you need to go check out spoilerdiecast.com. These guys are just absolutely crushing it, dude. I mean, they're one of the fastest growing diecasts and racing merch companies out there, and for good reason. They ship same or next day, so your order is not sitting in limbo forever. They have massive selection, over 1,900 products in stock, mostly NASCAR, kind of like you and me, but they do have dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1, a little bit of everything. Right now, since their April promotion is over, that we ran through April and May, we did get a June promotion. So they are offering free shipping on any orders over $100, which, that's kind of easy to do in the diecast world, because you just get over there and you can't just stop. I can't stop shopping when I'm there. So it's pretty easy to spend over $100. Free shipping over $100. Get a free NASCAR t-shirt of pretty much any random driver, or I suppose t-shirts that they're, have available there. You just comment your preferred size of the t-shirt in the order notes. So use promo code MONEYLAP to get your free shipping on an order over $100. Free shirt. Just give us your size in the notes. Say hi to me. Say hi to Parker,
because we'll be fulfilling the orders, of course.
Yeah, because we're the ones stuffing the orders.
Yeah.
So whether you're hunting down a rare piece or just looking to rep your favorite driver, go to spoilerdiecast.com. Use code MONEYLAP. Take advantage of your free shipping and that shirt.
That's awesome. Love the Spoiler Diecast, guys. We appreciate you. I have 580 windshields for my not a win Daytona truck sitting in my living room right now that have to be signed. Just got here this week. So I would say if you're waiting on that, just know it's getting closer. It's going to take me a second to get through 580. I didn't know I signed up to sign 580, pardon the pun. So this was a bit of a shock to me when these boxes arrived. But here we are. So we're going to sign them all. And if you order one of those, I appreciate you. And they will get out as quickly as possible. Hopefully you order it on spoilerdiecast.com. I want to go back to one thing you said earlier. You're going to be on a panel. Last week, before Nashville, I went to Chicago, to the University Club of Chicago. Yes, it is as fancy as it sounds. The University Club of Chicago. And did a little speaking on the Chicago street race, which was fun. I spoke in a place that they had some of the names that spoke before me in the recent months, which included Tom Hanks and other impressive and important people, from vice presidents to other politicians and such. And then me. Didn't really fill the room quite like those others, but it was a fun adventure. Got to stay at the University Club. Got a nice bag out of it. It was cool. That was cool to see. It was interesting to be down there in Chicago where the racetrack is, and there's no racetrack. And I was just like, this is so weird, because when we were there the last 2 years, to me, that area is a racetrack. And then I show up, I'm like, oh, no, this is just a functioning street and area, which is just, I don't know. It's odd. So that was fun. But also went on a small vacation this weekend. We went to Fire Island.
Where's that?
It's right off of Long Island. It's like more into the Atlantic, basically. And it was fun. There's no cars allowed on there. There's like 200 cars in the whole island, and it's just bicycles and walking paths. So it's kind of interesting. Real beachy vibe. Yeah, so that was fun. Had a good time there. I hadn't been there since I was really young, but Shannon really wanted to go. So we did that. That was awesome. And yeah, I mean, that was part of why our week last week was shorter. So we really couldn't get this show in last week. So plus I had.
Well, the best part is you agreed to record on Thursday, which is my fault that we delayed. You agreed to record on Thursday, completely not realizing that you had plans.
I'm good at the like where I need to be business wise, right? In my calendar and such. I'm terrible at managing the personal side. And so Shannon books these things. She booked this months in advance. I just assumed we left Friday. I knew we were leaving. I just assumed it was Friday. And so on Wednesday, she's like, no, we're leaving tomorrow. And I was like,
I feel like I can picture probably a frustration in your relationship where she feels like you don't prioritize the relationship.
Wait,
has that ever?
Did this just turn into like some sort of
therapy session?
Hold on.
All right. Well, your time is up to talk about personal stuff. Josh, what have you been up to for a week?
Last weekend I drove. Well, I didn't drive. I drove to the racetrack and helped with 4 other Looney Tune individuals like myself and ran a full, not broken up, full 25 hours and 1 minute at Thunderhill Raceway for the 24 hours of Lemons. So what can I say? We are peak athletes.
You're like a Lemons veteran at this point, aren't you?
I am. 25 hours and 1 minute for a 24-hour race.
Well, see, the original intention, they have a full 24-hour race in Colorado every year, but there's a 25-hour race at Thunderhill.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And it's the longest race in North America. So we went out there and did 25 hours and 1 minute because
did Thunderhill know about this 1 minute? I think the ownership was like, what the hell? That's our deal. That's our stick.
Guys, it was 114 degrees.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah. Fortunately, the car lasted all the way up until hour 23 before it lost an alternator. And we just threw a new battery in and said, we're going to go until we run out of battery. And just like an
hour and a half later.
Yeah, we were good. We were good to go, boys.
You were just like Kyle Larson this weekend. He was doing the same sort of praying at one point of the voltage situation in his 5 car. Before we jump into this past weekend at Michigan, I saw this last week. I thought we had to bring it up because it is interesting. Daniel Cespedes, who does all those amazing...
I think it's Cespedes,
does all these amazing statistics on X, posted this last week, and he said, basically, does it feel like there's been a lot of DQs this season? That's because there have been. He worked with Seth Eggert on this. There's already been 9 disqualifications this year, which is the most ever for a single NASCAR season. This was before Michigan, and we were only in June. So NASCAR, and if you look at his graph, I mean, it just goes exponential starting in 2020. Before that, almost none. Obviously, they changed some of the rules in terms of the penalties and infractions where they would start DQing people.
Obviously, they changed the rules, or not obviously they changed the rules,
but they did. They did sort of change how they were doing things, which is something I learned after getting disqualified. There? Yeah, I know. I saw exactly.
They did not obviously change the rules, which obviously led to DQs.
No, I would say the rule, the technical rule sets didn't change as much as the way they were then going to start handing out disqualifications. Right?
Let's not. I shouldn't have.
No, it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. It was cool. We'll go with it. If you look at it, Xfinity and Truck are just off the charts higher. And you have Cup that's sort of definitely higher than it's been in the past. So just sort of interesting.
Just getting comfortable with that hatchet.
Yeah. They just decided, you know what? DQs are a thing. It's happening now. So here we are. Lots of DQs. That didn't happen to Denny Hamlin this weekend. He won. This was another interesting stat from Daniel Cespedes, was how many people have actually won races after their 700th start. And it's a very small percentage and only a handful of wins, really. I think Jeff Gordon had the most at 6 or 7. I then responded to that before this weekend and said, I bet he gets 7 more and a championship in the rest of his career, knowing how most likely how long he'll go. He did it in his 701st start to get that first one and pass 700 starts. Pretty damn impressive.
Wow.
And it was an impressive win. It was a classic Hamlin win in some respects. He just... there was fuel mileage. There was all these things. He had to basically
just tricked him into letting him win a race.
And everyone else was like, were you managing fuel? It's like, no, they told me I was good to go. And meanwhile, you have William Byron who fights, tries to fend him off as long as he can towards the end, isn't able to do that, and then runs out of fuel. Ty Gibbs was there, but he was having to manage fuel. Kyle Larson was having to manage fuel a little bit. Carson Hocevar was leading with probably about 20 to go. Blew a left rear tire, but he was going to run out of fuel, most likely. They didn't get the fuel they needed. So yeah, Denny Hamlin just did what he does best, and that was find a way into victory lane. He didn't even look like he had sweat at all. That's what gets me about him. Do you notice that when he gets out after a win?
It's there's something about the
Why did you just
experience-
text Denny another classic?
because we were talking about it. So I thought, you know what? We usually text him and like, anyways.
I know.
I feel like there's something about the veteranness of sports where it's like that Tom Brady, 20-year quarterback, that 700 starts in the Cup Series, where it's just like, not only do you get fitter over time, well, you're focusing on your physical fitness and your endurance and all that stuff, but like you just over time you get more and more efficient at when to expend your energy, right? Like and how to when to push, when not to push. I'm not saying that's why Denny doesn't sweat. Maybe he needs to see his doctor. I don't know, but there's also a lot to be said about these guys that just have done it for so long. They know how to just get through 500 miles, 400 miles of Michigan. They know how to get through it. They know when to try. They know when to push. They know when not to.
Yeah.
I love that. I enjoy that stuff. I think that's a cool feature in all of sports, not just NASCAR. Of when you see a veteran that's just there all the time. Right now, Scotty Scheffler is that way to me. He's at the top of his game in golf, right? Number one golfer in the world. And it's like, he just is there. Like, it doesn't matter where he's at on day 1, 2, or 3, but day 4, he's just always at the top of the board. Right.
Right. Yeah.
NASCAR, we're seeing that. I think Denny Hamlin is definitely in that kind of era where it's just like, gosh, he has this ability to show up. Even he doesn't have to dominate a race to win it.
And it's like his 6th or 7th crew chief in the last 10 years or something crazy.
Yeah, and that's another good point.
Or multiple. I don't know if that was the right number. That might be too many, but it's multiple crew chiefs in the last couple of years.
So the first driver that I kind of had this like realization about something similar was Kurt Busch, and I think we talked about it on the podcast or on the show.
Well,
on the show,
we definitely have taken
Kurt Busch. Is a driver that you look at how many different teams he drove for, and how many different crew chiefs he drove for. Now, whether that's a feature or a bug, we can. That's a different conversation, right? Because Jimmy Johnson had pretty much one team and one crew chief and won 7 championships and however almost 100 races. But like I admired Kurt Busch for that because it's like, oh my gosh, that guy literally won in every single scenario he was put in.
Yeah.
And Denny is a little bit less of that because he drove for one team, but it's like, it's obvious that the driver is a huge piece of the success of that 11 car over multiple decades.
Yep. I think that's a good point. And I think Corey LaJoy said it on the post-race show, his racing IQ is higher than anyone. And it really is at this point in time. And he talks about how hard he works and the effort he puts behind it and the research he does and the
very,
the homework he does. And it's just, he's in a great place for that. And I wonder, 700 starts in his 40s, you're just like, okay, well, how long will this guy go? And it's like, when you're in this moment, there's no stop.
Why would he stop?
And I know he wants to win his last race. He said he wants to win his last race. He could definitely do that. And then there's the other side of like, well, is there a sudden drop off? I don't know. Haven't seen it. We had this massive car change in the last 5 years, right? Changed the sport entirely. He's just as good. So it's like, okay, that wasn't going to stop him. All right, let's change his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, that he's worked with for the last couple of years and been so successful with. And, maybe that will stop him. No, that didn't stop him. So it's just like, okay, yep, there's really nothing you can change right now that's going to stop him from finding a way to be in position to win races and to run up front and to be, for arguably each and every season, if you want to say who's going to make the championship 4, not who's going to win the championship, but who's going to make the championship 4, he would be in the top 4 every single year. So
especially if you're asking you.
Yeah, well, if you ask me, it's his year until it isn't, and I still believe he's gonna get that championship. I don't know. I believe it. Maybe it'll be his last year. He'll win the race, win the championship, and we'll all say goodbye. So that would be a pretty epic Denny Hamlin way to exit. I beat all your favorite driver. I beat your favorite driver to the championship, and I'm out. Peace. Very cool. Yeah, I think one topic going into this weekend was Carson Hocevar and his incident with Stenhouse. It was talked ad nauseum. We're not going to dive into all that. He's obviously very aggressive and all those things. But what I think is damn impressive, and it was in our group chat this weekend from AJ Henderson asking, how the hell is he so fast?
How the hell is he so fast?
I wondered. I know. I'm wondering the same thing. And the only things I can, sort of put my finger on are he comes out of trucks straight to Cup. The Cup car had gone through this massive change, right? Trucks and the Cup car are far more closely aligned in terms of just throttle time and the style racing, momentum based, all those things, considering the downforce levels and the grip levels. Now they're more mechanical grip than aero grip, but just bear with me for a second. Far more similar, even though it's a massively different architecture, right? Than it would be the Xfinity car to the Cup car and vice versa for going from Cup to Xfinity. And I think that played into it a little bit. I think he got on an upswing with Spire, obviously. And I think what's becoming evident is that his comfort level in this car in a variety of circumstances is really high, right? And for whatever reason, he has taken to this very edgy race car that you balance on a very much a nice edge that doesn't have the ability to, it has a very sharp slip angle in the tire. And obviously he has a knack for that and a feel, and they've been giving him, they're doing the right things in the setup of the race car to allow him to extract that speed. And that's just really that's the only things I can put my finger on. It's the only things it could be really that much different. Any theories on your end?
No, I mean, I think there's no theories, I guess, to be had unless they're cheating and we wouldn't know about it. I don't know, but like
they'd be DQ'd by now.
The Cup Series nowadays is just so much about just execution, and they are executing so well. And I know it doesn't seem that way because they've got their issues, the flat tire. It seems like you can't close the deal, but to bring a car that's that competitive week after week after week just shows that, reiterates everything that you just said, right? Their driver has the feel, his confidence is high. They're listening to his feedback, right? They're obviously building on what he's doing in the sim, what they're doing at the track, and then they're just, so they're making good decisions week over week that compound on themselves. And with a car like this, where you don't have, with the old car and even older than the old car, like different builds of cars at different tracks. It's like it's literally the same car everywhere. So it gets to a point where once you figure it out, it works at a short track, it works at an intermediate track, it works everywhere, right? You're just repeating a process, and they're obviously doing that right now. And that to me is a completely separate conversation than this sort of Ross Chastain era that he's going through right now, that Carson is going through. He's literally going through the exact same thing that year 2 Ross Chastain Cup Series and Trackhouse went through, where he's fast, he's pissing people off. Most of it is probably his own doing, but yet they're also really bitter that he's fast while he's doing it, right? The only thing he doesn't have right now is the win that Ross had at the time, but the win's obviously going to come. It's going to happen. Like, it's and you called that before the season started.
I did. I said he would win a race. He hasn't lived up to it yet, but he's been damn close. I thought Nashville had it. I thought Nashville had it.
He's been so close. I don't want about so close, but he's there, right? He's doing the things that it takes, and they'll get there. But it is funny that like we're seeing this sort of second coming of Ross Chastain. And we're hearing, the media, it's like everybody has such short memories because it's all the headlines right now and the comparisons to Dale Earnhardt. It's like, oh my gosh, is there no creativity in this world? Well, no, it's not that he shouldn't be compared to Dale Earnhardt. It's like we just had this conversation 18 months ago about Ross Chastain.
Well,
it's like
100%. It's exactly him. And the funniest part about comparing the two of them, which I think some people have put together, but remember this, he even came through Nice, and Ross was at Nice, and that reignited his career to get back towards the Cup Series. And then, exactly what Carson's doing, which he would drop down. And although he won a race with Spire, he's run up front in those Nice trucks, and that's exactly what Ross did. And then moved into the Cup Series and has the same, chip on his shoulder. I know, who's really gracious about this comparisons is Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I saw him, give some comparisons and comparing Carson Hocevar to Dale Earnhardt or to, Dale Earnhardt Sr. in his early days. If you go and watch that Earnhardt doc on Prime, which is absolutely incredible, one of the best, if not the best forms of NASCAR content ever made in history. And one of the coolest, just behind the scenes, really diving deep and not, hiding from certain controversial things that Dale Earnhardt did in his personal life and that sort of stuff. But most of all, you just get this respect for him being the American hero, badass person that he was, lived the American dream through and through. I even had people from outside racing text me about that, just being like, have you watched this yet? I'm like, yes, I did. It's incredible. So I think, Dale Jr. has been really gracious in comparing at times to that. But what infuriates me about that comparison sometimes is if you go watch that documentary, I'm sorry, there is no Dale Earnhardt out there. Like, there hasn't been, there isn't, and I don't know if there ever will be. Like, that guy's aura and his ability to have created a persona from day one of walking into the Cup Series, and, some by his own doing, some not. The Wrangler deal, which kind of shaped his sort of blue collar, the cowboy hat and the mustache and the glasses look that then shifted into Goodwrench coming in with the all black car that became the Intimidator. I mean, that just some of it was his own doing, his own intelligence. And for sure, he definitely was really cognizant of his image and what he portrayed, and the way he drove and all those things. But also some of that was just the effects of everything around him that I haven't seen it. I don't know if we ever will again. So I think those comparisons kind of annoy me sometimes, but
they are annoying. Sorry for even bringing it up, because that wasn't my intention.
Yeah, sorry, I got on a real soapbox.
I wasn't trying to validate or not validate the comparison, but rather, I was just bringing to attention like this cycle of, Ross Chastain 2 years ago, Dale Earnhardt comparisons, and then it's like 2 years later, we literally have the same. We just pulled Ross Chastain out, put Carson Hocevar in, and we're seeing the same on-track antics. We're seeing even the same personality in front of a camera, right? That sort of like, oh gosh, golly Whitaker's, kind of a little bit. I'm not sure how it's almost disingenuous at times, a little bit, where it's like, I didn't mean to. I'm just racing hard, just trying to get. It's like,
oh, did I bump into them?
Did I do that?
That was a long time ago. I don't remember it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just, you can't blame me. I'm young and going for it. It's like the same thing, but then yet even the drivers are doing the same things. The media is doing the same thing too. It's the same cycle.
Yeah,
they say the same things. Is he the next Dale Earnhardt? It's like all the same things, and it's just like, oh my gosh. The only thing is that I'm looking forward to for Carson is just seeing that first win.
Yeah, and I think it's imminent. There's no doubt. Speaking of what's next, we have Mexico City coming up. This is the first time for the NASCAR Cup Series race down in Mexico, a track that the Xfinity Series had been to in the past, although a different layout. It's a little bit more of a condensed layout. Crazy thing, though, it's 7,300 feet in the air, and they talked about this a little bit on the Prime broadcast this past weekend. That has a couple effects. One, it basically removes all downforce because the air is so thin. So these cars have very little downforce. Oh my gosh.
I do not remember that part about Mexico City.
Did you go to it?
Yes, I raced there one time.
You raced in it? Oh.
Yes, I did. It was a horrible weekend. I wrecked the primary car on basically the outlap.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, the race was okay. I don't even remember what I did. I didn't do anything. But the weekend was good. I had some good memories. But I don't remember much from that weekend, and I sure as hell do not remember the altitude in Mexico City.
Yeah. Well, because of that, also had some talk with some Xfinity teams over the last couple of weeks. There's been a little bit of, I guess, conjecture around the exact number, but in terms of the engines, at that high in altitude are making somewhere around 20% less horsepower, possibly, which for an Xfinity car would put it down below 500.
Really?
But with that, the drag coefficient is so low because the air is so thin, it kind of equalizes out, I guess, in some respects. So the straightaway speed should still be high. Cooling the engines is definitely a discussion. The Cup teams are arriving with basically an alternative cooling option that the OEMs have to decide on after first practice, which one they're going to go with. And then for the Xfinity teams, I asked a lot of them, like, what are you doing cooling wise? They have massive brake duct openings, so they're not too worried about that. But I think it will definitely be tough for some of these teams, potentially.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that with the air that thin, it doesn't cool as well. It could, potentially not cool the brakes as well, that sort of thing. The braking zones could be massive. If you're still doing 180 miles an hour down that straightaway, that first turn braking zone will be one of the longest braking zones for the Xfinity cars all year by far. So yeah, that will be nuts. But it's gonna be interesting.
Less drag.
Yeah.
Less cooling. That's less downforce. I mean, you just got me kind of hyped for this race this weekend. I did not realize that. That was not on my radar.
And
so,
go ahead,
Parker.
Josh.
I just wanted to on the downforce topic. I found a thing from Williams Racing talking about how when they go to this circuit, they put a high downforce package on and it produces less downforce than the low downforce package at Monza.
Yeah.
So that gives you like a true idea of just how much less downforce there is.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that's not totally that's not super applicable to stock car racing because they're always in the high downforce package in stock cars for the most part. However, we the fans are the ones that get to benefit from this because it's just a totally different experience. It's gonna be it's gonna be different race cars almost in a big way. I'm not trying to be too dramatic about it, but that's a big deal.
No, it's a big deal. I mean, 7,300 feet in the air. I mean, the Pikes Peak Raceway is like 5,000 feet in the air. So the Toyota, Trevor Bain talked about this on the Prime broadcast, which is that some of the Toyota drivers have been doing, sleeping in the hyperbolic chamber deal, which you do to go mountain climbing, which Justin Marks had showed a couple times when he was doing all those mountain climbing endeavors. And you basically sleep in what mimics super low altitude, low oxygen. Hyperbaric, sorry. And then hyperbolic, hyperbaric chamber. And then you train in lower altitude, which builds up your red blood cells, that sort of stuff. So kind of interesting. I don't know. I've never been in really high altitude places. I guess I have when I went to the Alps a couple years ago. I don't know if I get altitude sickness. It's not going to matter for me.
If they were really serious, they could just, do a blood transfusion at low.
Oh, geez.
Just kidding.
No,
it's Lance Armstrong stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if we've really reached that level in terms of human optimization. So I don't see that.
That is exciting, and it makes me wish there was an oval track at that high altitude.
Oh my goodness. They'd be going at 4,000 miles.
There's no other way to get rid of downforce than to just go to a place where there is no downforce, where there's no air.
We now only race at 7,000 feet and above. Hey, welcome to the NASCAR
I was at altitude
series
this weekend because I was in Park City, and I had a hell of a headache the first day. Gosh.
Really?
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, you get drunk quicker, too.
I didn't drink much, but...
Isn't that a dry town?
I mean, it wasn't where I was at, but I said much. I didn't drink much.
Let's talk about the truck series. And the reason being, big announcement this past weekend on Sunday. Ram, owned by Stellantis, used to be Dodge, obviously, is returning to the trucks and hinting at a possible return to Cup, which would most people say would be most likely or the earliest 2027. But they're back as the last Dodge development driver, essentially. Cool to see them back. I was their development driver when I was at Penske in 2010, 2011. And actually, by 2012, we kind of knew they were leaving, I guess. So, it was 2010, 2011. But I actually won the last National Series race for a Dodge Stellantis car at the ARCA race, New Jersey Motorsports Park in 2016. So, but good to see an OEM, a new one back. I have no insight as to what teams are going to. I've seen all the rumors of GMS and that sort of thing, and Rackley War, and others trying to say teams like ThorSport, that sort of thing, would maybe be going there. I have no idea, no insight. It's been pretty close to the vest. I've had a million calls from people asking, you know where they're going? I'm like, no, I have no idea. So, but cool.
It's interesting. I'm very curious what their support looks like, right? Because one thing that's different now compared to when they were in the sport more than a decade ago is the infrastructure that the OEMs have, like the physical infrastructure that the OEMs have to support their teams compared to more than a decade ago. Because a decade ago, there was almost no physical infrastructure, right? It was all in the teams, all of the technical support and all the engineering. It was completely up to the teams, right? And the resources were distributed to the teams, and they would develop the tools and the engineering, and that was that, right? Where now the sport, the OEM's influence on the sport is so much greater now that it's ever been. And I feel like that cost to entry for an OEM is probably higher than it's ever been if you want to compete, right? Because now you have this, GM has their tech center, Ford has their tech center, Toyota has theirs in Salisbury, and they've only been growing, right? They've been growing and growing, and their engineering teams and their simulation that's there. It is not, that's when people ask, like, what's it take for another manufacturer to come into the sport? And we're only talking about the truck series right now, but the truck teams in Ford, Chevy, and Toyota that are they're still using those resources too. And people ask, what's it take for a new manufacturer to come in, and they feel like it should be a snap of the fingers. That's why it's tough, right? That's why it's expensive. Like, where are they going to get these how much did Chevy spend on their facility? Like a couple $100 million?
Easy.
Right.
Well, and to your point, if you remember, I had that conversation with Mazda a couple years ago and some people at Mazda, and they had done the research on it. And they said that just the startup cost alone to build the infrastructure was $150 million to come into NASCAR at the time. And that was a couple years ago with the next gen coming in and everything. And it's, to your point, it's the physical locations of these simulators and engineering groups that they're putting all the money behind that make this, such a tall task. Because, similar to F1, it's like where manufacturer aligns with an individual team. That level for them, it's the same infrastructure needed, but you're going to give it to multiple teams in NASCAR, where they kind of centralize that manufacturer support and involvement, which Toyota kind of led the way on this, and now Chevy has followed and Ford has followed, and they all do it this way now. And for any manufacturer coming in, it's not just, we got to get a car in the wind tunnel years in advance and get it approved by NASCAR. And then there's the idea, if they wanted to go to Cup, what engine would they be able to use? And there were some comments from NASCAR about the idea that they could use the base architecture that they had with the R7 motor. I think it was R7, R6. It was R6. That was the new motor that came in 2012, 2011, right before they left. They had a new motor architecture from Dodge. Well, yeah, who would build it, first of all? And then, is that even approvable? And then there is the idea, and this is something that's most likely coming, with the talk of another OEM being interested in that there could be different design than just a pushrod V8 in the NASCAR Cup Series. And that would be through the use of torque sensors, which we've talked about on the show before, to sort of what they use, which is exactly what they use in IMSA and in World Endurance Championship and the hypercars we talked about at Le Mans, to sort of equalize different types of engines and power plants and engine or power units. So it will, the trucks are super easy. All they had to do is make a body. The engines are given to them.
Well, not super easy, but it's
easier.
It's the right entry point, right?
Yeah.
You're not building an engine. You're really just supporting a team. And, what does that look like? I mean, you're likely supporting a team that's not going to have simulation. So what do they use for simulation? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
a big risk for a team that goes that path.
Well, I mean, they're just have to develop them themselves and maybe utilize what am I trying to say?
Third party
up in
suppliers.
Indianapolis. What's the big sim?
What are you talking about, Willis? Oh, Pratt and Miller.
No, not Pratt and Miller, because they're GM. But
yeah,
who is the?
Well, Dallara has them out them. Yeah,
Dallara.
Yep.
Do they utilize Dallara for sim? Do they? What do they utilize to build that infrastructure? And then the other thing too, so I'm more interested in just like that part of it, like where does this go, than specifically who the team is. Where my interest in who the team is plays into this is, does the team that they support in the truck series shed any light as to what their future in Cup looks like, right? Because they are, you would hope or you would think that if you're Stellantis and you are definitely going to go Cup racing in the next 2 years, that the team you partner with now in the Cup Truck Series is going to be part of helping you build that infrastructure to get going in the Cup side, right? So is there some engineering sort of foundational? Is there something going on there infrastructure wise? But when they go Cup racing, there will be a big decision that is made, right, on a Cup level that will be exciting for all of us to talk about, because it is going to be a team with an engine shop, right? Or it's going to be a team that comes up with an engine shop somehow. It will be a big move.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty interesting. And the candidates for that is, RCR or somebody like that. That will make a generational change in our eyes.
And you would think if they came in to the Cup Series and made that kind of investment, it's a long-term deal. So it's a massive change. It'd be a massive influx of capital into the sport. Forever that organization is, it's going to, as you put it, sort of be a generational change for them.
Yeah. They just got a new CEO.
What's that?
I said Stellantis just got a new CEO, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
There's a
pay
lot
attention
going
to that.
on.
Yeah. They Josh put this in here. They were according to Consumer Reports, Dodge was the 18th most reliable used car brand in 2025. So,
Well, that was Ram. Dodge
Oh,
is
Ram, sorry.
24th.
Dodge is 24th. That's Ram. So if you're used car connection.
What car were they using Cup? Because the Charger's an EV now, and they don't have any other cars.
Challenger, maybe?
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it was going to be the EVs as well. They're going to have to figure that out. That is no doubt. They got
Or do they
problems.
come back as Cadillac?
What do you mean? No, that's a Chevy brand.
Whoops, this is awkward.
What are you doing?
I'm
Cadillac
gonna go.
F1 team. Jesus.
Sorry. Oh boy,
Wow.
this is awkward.
Beyond
That was
an
only
airball.
the second stupidest thing said on this show today.
Man, I just airballed.
All right,
I'm gonna
moving
go back.
on.
Moving on. Let's talk open wheel. Formula One. Adam Stern just put this out here. This was kind of interesting. Apple and Jerry Bruckheimer Films sold $40 million in sponsorship around the fictional race team in F1 the movie, per sources, which is enough to fund a couple real-life NASCAR Cup cars for a year. Total budget on that film I saw was reportedly, some reports had it $300 million. They said, I saw other reports saying no, it was closer to $200 million. Quite a massive marketing endeavor, but makes sense. Brad Pitt, F1's booming, or at least everyone's excited about it. You got a Hollywood movie. I'm not sure that even is out of the realm of other sponsorship placements in movies. But they also got all the year or 2 year long, behind the scenes marketing, and all the time those cars were at the track in front of all those fans. So it makes total sense.
Be careful, Apple. It's a bit of a drug. You can get addicted.
They're in the game now.
Yeah, they're in the game now. They're like, wait.
Tim Cook's like, hey, how'd we finish this weekend? Well, we didn't really race, Tim.
Yeah, it was not real, Tim.
What if we actually raced?
Make another one where we win.
Yeah. We want to be there. Come on. Also, more reports. Speaking of Cadillac, Josh, this time it's okay to mention them. The Cadillac F1 team, Sergio Perez, is being courted, apparently, as we talked about earlier this year, but now even more reports that they are close on a deal with Sergio Perez to be their first driver. So we could hear of a first driver at Cadillac F1.
You think that's the direction it's going? Does that make the most sense to you?
Yeah, I think it does, because his experience level, and you got a new team, and he's on the out right now. I'm surprised it wouldn't be like a Valtteri Bottas, but I just think Sergio also has a lot to prove. He didn't like the way it ended there, and he's been validated in a lot of respects of what's happened there. Yeah, his confidence has to be higher right now.
Yeah, I mean he has. I'm tripping over my words here. His only way to go is up. He has everything to gain here. So he's got to be chomping at the bit for this ride if he's truly getting it or in the running or what
Or if he wants it.
Or if he wants it.
Even if he wants it. I'd say other side, I wonder sometimes someone like him who's there as long as he was, sometimes they don't want it anymore. So they want to move on. It happens. And then we mentioned Le Mans. Keep your eyes tuned on that this weekend. It's Le Mans 24 hours. It's a 24-hour race in some country roads in France. It's going to be exciting, interesting. Don't have much terrible insights other than to say it's going to be awesome and it's going to be a classic, most likely. Last thing, I was getting some reports, possible rain down in Mexico for this weekend. So it could be really interesting.
I don't even care for that.
I don't think we need it, but I just don't think Mother Nature cares what we need or don't need in the show. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I assume the crowd will be absolutely massive. Suarez is racing in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. I think it'll be fun, really fun. I'm excited to see Mexico City and check it out. Have some good tequila and some tacos. That's it. That's all I need. I got to leave early Sunday morning, so I won't have much time to really investigate the city. But it'll be cool to be there. I'm excited.
When do you head down there?
I head down Thursday morning, so we that's why we did this on the actual time, our normal recording time.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do some picks. We got Cup racing this weekend, as we mentioned, in Mexico. We got Xfinity in Mexico. F1 is in, Josh, remind me.
Canada.
Oh, it's Canadian GP. That's right. Which they're talking about putting on the same time as the Indy 500 in the future. Absolutely asinine if they do that. They should be banned from America forever. If that happens, people should... I'm not going to say this. Never mind. I'm not going to incite violence, but what I would say is, if that's the case, we boycott F1 if they put it on the same time as the Indy 500. Anti-American. And IndyCar is racing in St. Louis Gateway, so we need some picks, Landon. Who we got this coming weekend?
Xfinity. No, what am I picking? I'm picking IndyCar Gateway first.
But you can just choose whatever you can go anywhere.
Oh, picking anything. So Cup in Mexico. I mean, should I go for SVG?
Oh, he needs it, man. Down
either
in
that
30,
or
third in points.
Either that or Allmendinger.
AJ wants it, you know that. So does McDowell.
I think I'm going with AJ.
All right.
Ooh, McDowell. I think it's a matter of who do I want to root for. AJ, McDowell. It's between me. Let's go for AJ. Xfinity, Suarez. Even though we probably won't. I'm just gonna root for. That's who I'm rooting for. Formula. You're already typing Lando. I can see that in the. Yeah, give me Lando.
Okay.
IndyCar. Gateway. Oh, is Connor racing?
Yes, he is.
Daly. Give me Connor Daly.
Oval.
Why not Le Mans? Do we have Le Mans picks?
Why do we not have Le Mans picks? Well, now, you need to pick a hypercar, an LMP2.
Do we want to do Le Mans?
Let me just do...
pick a hypercar. Pick a hypercar.
Whichever car Kobayashi's driving.
That's a Toyota.
I think Toyota. I don't know which one it is.
I think he's 7 or 8. I can't remember. She's doing it. It's pretty funny.
I'm not gonna go figure that out. I'll let Brett figure out whatever car that is.
Yeah. In the hypercar Le Mans, I'm gonna go with. I think for some reason it's gonna be an unusual one in a group that's not gonna be Porsche Penske's. Oh, you know what? Actually, does he get it done finally?
I wanted to pick a Ferrari first, and then I wanted to pick the Porsche Penske, and then I went with Toyota instead.
Yeah, I mean they've been really good. I'm just thinking. Hold on, they got 3 of them going 25. Penske.
Yeah, They got Nasser Tandy and
I'm going with Nick Tandy's
okay.
Porsche Penske.
All right, number 4.
Yep. He's got it. I'm going to say in IndyCar, Connor Daly.
Yes. Come on in.
Come on. We need something
Water's
crazy.
fine.
Gateway, something crazy happens always. Oh, in F1, though, I'm going to say Canada can get weird. It can get really weird. I'm going to say something like Kimi Antonelli.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I always go with these random ones. One day they'll pay off. Xfinity will be Christopher Bell for Sam Hunt Racing's first win. And in Cup, there's times where people like to say things. Sometimes you couldn't even write it that well. You couldn't script it, they'd say at times. That means go with the most entertaining outcome, as Elon Musk would say. Daniel Suarez wins the Cup race at Mexico inaugural one as a Mexican-born driver. The place will go wild.
The script is in.
Yep. It's the most entertaining outcome. All right. Josh, who you got?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were doing a Wednesday show this week, so
Nope.
I'm just gonna go ahead and skip ahead and just say, ooh, because it's interesting to me, I'm gonna go with SVG. Has an international driver ever won an international race in NASCAR?
I
Well,
picked one too.
has there ever, when was
Has there
the
ever been
last
an international Cup race?
driver?
Well, I didn't know if in like Japan or something like that.
No.
Way back when we did
No.
stuff like that. So
No.
Okay. So
No international points Cup race. Definitely not.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fair. Well, I'm gonna go for SVG because I think it'll be interesting and it'll be fun. And he's from not around here. So, and then in Xfinity, who are the Cup drivers that are racing against Suarez, Bell, and who else?
You're testing my knowledge now. I was really proud of
Oh.
my Christopher Bell remembrance right this second because I don't have to do all my stuff till tomorrow. I don't know. You have to look it up.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
All right. Well, I'm gonna join you in my Bell pick. I think that's a fair pick. Oscar Piastri because I'm nothing but consistent, and then IndyCar we're gonna go with Kirkwood because I think he's gonna close the gap even more, and then the hypercar because I love it so much. I'm going to go with the 007 Aston Martin. It is slow as heck, but it sounds so cool.
Absolutely not going to win. Awesome. Good picks. We had a new Apple review. As always, if you want to get on the show, give us 5-star Apple review. This one was from, you didn't put the person, Josh. What the hell?
Anonymous.
Oh, it didn't show up on. Oh, it's Jackson White.
Okay, Jackson White, top motorsports show. Hands down, my favorite motorsports show. I've saw firsthand how hard Parker works. I'm not surprised that this show is as good as it is. A great listen that helps pass time for the many miles a year I travel. Landon, I look forward to the sponsor plugs every week. They're great. Keep up the great work. Oh, that's Jackson White. He was my hauler driver at Big Machine. He now works on the number 6 car for RFK. So appreciate you, Jackson. Thank you.
Nice.
On Spotify. Yeah.
Noah Larson.
Noah Larson. Do you want to read this one?
And yeah, Noah's on Twitter a lot. See him in our replies. This year marked my first trip to the Indy 500, and I can speak to the emotions. I'm not a big Polo fan, but I went down to the fence when he was paraded around the track post-race in the pickup, and when they passed by my section, it was probably the loudest I've ever cheered at a race. Absolute cinema. That's great. I love that, and I appreciate the self-awareness around that. Because that's right. That race is so emotional. We talk about it all the time. P.S. I have one of the limited run Landon tees from when he repped Morgan's 89 during the iRacing COVID races. Still one of my favorites in my closet. Yeah, it was a good t-shirt. Kim also, there's a sports bar package through DirecTV. What am I about to read?
This was in reference to us. I think you asked if people could get Prime in.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. Kim,
Yep.
to the rescue then. Okay. Because I was like, what am I diving into? Is this an ad? There's a sports bar package through DirecTV that is available that allows for Prime Sports and Netflix sports streams. I used to work at B-Dubs. and their package allowed for Thursday night football streams when they switched it from NBC to Prime. Okay.
Oh, see, there you go. And on YouTube, I broke the thing again. I always break it.
Mine's broken too. I can't unzoom. I can read this. I can read the YouTube one if you want. It's Diego
This one,
Alvarado.
yeah, Diego Alvarado Racing. Oh, why don't you get this one? Go ahead,
Parker.
Well, no,
I'm
it
going
says to me.
Oh, it's you.
Wait a second.
It seems like this. This seems like this maybe should have been a direct message and not a review. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's a comment on our YouTube, so we take some of the comments. Parker, I'm going to camp at the Lime Rock for trucks and ARC weekend. Judging off Google Maps, it doesn't seem like there's much to do in the area, but I'm missing something. Is there anything to see or do in the area, or anything specifically I need to experience at the track? Never been to Connecticut or anywhere in the Northeast for that matter. So down
That could
the
have been
road,
an email.
definitely could be. Salisbury is a nice area. And then really though, if you're camping there, I'm sure there's gonna be plenty to do. It's going to be the largest camping event in Lime Rock, basically modern day history. There's gonna be all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you'll find friends. I would just hang out there. It's gonna be a great weekend. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'll be working for TNT down in Atlanta, which is why I'm not racing in it or there. But I'm proud to see that the event is hopefully gonna go off super well. And from everything I hear, it's gonna be really, really big. So
on Sunday, if you're hanging out, you should come down to Providence. There's a cool expo that's happening down there, all around Flight Sim, and I'll be there. You can say hi to me.
There you go. Another plug. We're just full of them. Davis Warren wrote to friends@themoneylap.com. Hello, love the show and listen every week. Can Landon tell about his experience in the 2014 Coke Zero Sugar 400, as well as the wacky qualifying session the day before? Thanks, Davis Warren. Landon, the floor is yours. What do you remember?
I'm gonna have to dig into my memory bank on this. So was 2014 the year that Austin Dillon went flying?
No, that was 2015. This year, I went back and looked. There was weather on qualifying day, which I think, remember, it was the group qualifying?
It was group qualifying.
So you qualified up in the top 5. You qualified third, actually, in the 40 car. And then the race started on Saturday night, but there was weather. Then it got pushed into Sunday, which you guys made it.
Yep.
A couple laps. Then there was weather, and then it ended up getting ended under weather at lap 113 with
Eric Almirola
won. Yes, exactly.
I led some laps in that race early.
So what do you remember?
What? Well, qualifying was interesting because that qualifying was so chaotic, and we did a few sessions of I feel like group qualifying happened was a thing for a year at super speedways, wasn't it? We did maybe 3 or 4 sessions, and then they nixed it.
And we did some of the big tracks.
Right. And I did it in Xfinity and in Cup. And they were so chaotic. And there was a little bit of strategy, but the one thing that stands out to me about the Daytona one was I was completely along for the ride. I have a core memory in my life on this one. There was no magic. I did nothing magical. I don't remember anything strategic. You could probably ask Mike Hillman. He might have a different story of no. Remember we lined up here and we tried this. But all I can tell you is that I remember sort of getting stuck behind or just ending up in line behind a front row car, I think. And just being I have no idea if we're going fast. I have no idea if we're in the right spot. I just know that this is where I ended up because there's only so much time left and we have to complete a couple laps. And I remember coming off of turn 4, and I think I saw a group in front of us, and then I remember feeling the car and my RPMs and be oh, we're hauling ass right now. This is gonna be a lap. And then crossing the line, and then it was yep, P3, and then just be wow, okay, well I felt like I did nothing. Just I just got lucky. I got in the right spot at the right time, and we qualified third. And I was I felt like it was unearned. It just was weird. I don't know. So. I remember that was funny. And then in the race, I remember leading a couple laps, and I was up front though at one point, and Jimmy Johnson poked middle on me and sucked me out of the draft. And then we had a red flag, and I talked to him about it, and he was you needed to block me more aggressively. He's I wasn't trying to pass you. I kind of had to, the way he had to push, and it was kind of a learning moment for me on how aggressive I needed to be with my mirrors even early in the race.
Oh, that was like the first lap. I watched that in the first lap.
Yeah, maybe it was. I remember being super early in the race.
Yeah, it was like lap 1. He like went to below you and shoved you in the middle, and you ended up working to the outside and stayed like third on the top. And it was like, why did he make that move? And it was to that exact moment.
Yeah. He told me about it in the red flag, and it actually helped me when we went back to racing. Because I was like, oh, okay, kind of learned something.
That's how you do it. Damn.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good advice. Great advice. I got some good advice from some people that we. One of them I was going to mention, I totally forgot. We didn't have him last. Well, yeah, because we just didn't show up last week, which kind of got him angry. And then
he was there waiting.
He was there waiting.
Last week was the week, but then we didn't show up.
We just didn't show up. So this week we meant to tell him we were back. He didn't really know. It just feels like every week we mess this up. Nonetheless, Kyle Busch won't be on today. We're gonna keep trying with him. But maybe next time when he's there, we'll show up. Vice versa. We'll get there together at the same time, which will be awesome. We'll keep trying on it. Thanks for listening. We're glad to be back. See you next week. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.